Hello and welcome back to OmniFit TV. This is your host Omar speaking, and today I basically wanted to shoot a preview for the final, but considering the fact that the team I support has made it to the Champions League final for the first time in nearly 10 years, I decided that there was a story that I had to tell. And I felt like this would be the most appropriate time to tell it. Now, this is a love letter to the club that I support. And this event played a huge role when it had happened, at the time that it happened. It took place in 2012. It took place before we won the Champions League. And I thought that, you make content, you make football content. I make football content to be able to connect with people. It's not just about relaying the news or being as objective as humanly possible, but you have to express your love of the game, and this is why I'm making this video. So basically, I'm going to tell this story as best as I can, and then I'm going to show you what's on the desk in front of me. Basically, back in 2012, after our first leg loss against Napoli in the Champions League, I don't think that I had much hope of us actually progressing. And I was a kid back then. You're talking close to 10 years ago. I was close to 15 years old. I was 15 years old, actually. And I was growing up in Lebanon at the time. I spent half my life in Lebanon. I was at a school called the Central College of the Lebanese Monks in a place called Junia. I'm actually trying to describe all this. Basically, what happened was an English principal, came to visit my school. And he was quite the tall man. His name was Trevor Woods. He was quite old at the time. I'm not necessarily sure, if he's still around. I haven't been in contact with him ever since I sent him that last email a couple of days later before our second leg against Napoli. He basically needed someone to give him a tour of the school. And I decided that, you know what, maybe I can try. And they let me do it. I showed him around. I showed him everything, all the school's facilities and such. I remember walking past the gym, and we started having a conversation about football, and he was like, who do you support? And I told him, I'm a Chelsea fan. And he was like, how many of your classmates are Chelsea fans? I was like, none. Most of them support either United or Barcelona. And he was like, that's a bummer. I was like, yeah, it's quite obviously a bummer. He's like, do any of them support Arsenal? I was like, yeah. He's like, oh, okay then. And we just, that dry English humor kind of set in. It was interesting. It was funny in its own way. And he told me that he was a Chelsea fan like myself. And I think that was quite special for me, to hear of someone who had actually been to the Bridge. He was a season ticket holder, and he would go to games every week. And he asked me who my favorite player was, and I told him it was Frank Lampard, and he told me that it was the exact same for him. And we just talked and shared information, and I found that it was just this monumental thing for someone to just connect with me on a footballing level in that sense, who had actually been to my favorite club. And as soon as we concluded the tour, he thanked me and he told me, you know what, I have to send you something. I was like, wait, what could you possibly send me? And I didn't assume anything, I didn't know if I should have assumed anything. And he was like, you'll see. And I just thanked him for the sentiment, and I was pretty happy to give him the tour. And then I went and told my friends, okay, I gave him a tour, and they were like, who does he support? Is he into football? I told them, like, he's a Chelsea fan just like me. And they were like, oh wow, okay then. And then I can't remember how long it was afterwards, but he sent me this plastic bag that had Chelsea's logo on it, and he sent me in that bag all these things, which I'll get to. That plastic bag is deteriorated because, it's been close to 10 years now. First thing on the top of this tiny mountain of books is a necklace from the Chelsea Academy. It even has, I'm not sure if it's going to be visible from here, it even has the words Chelsea FC Soccer Schools on it, right there. And this is I love this photo of Raul Morales here. Okay, trying to see if this works. Okay, that's good. I think you can see it from here. Raul Meireles was actually one of my favorite Chelsea signings. He was someone I had always wanted to see play for Chelsea. Him and Juan Mata, to be honest. Juan. Said that properly. This is our matchday program against Fulham on the 26th of December in 2011. And, they had pictures in it of players eating eating at their tables, and it looks so informal. And the squads were written behind this. Wow, I forgot this was even here. We had Andre Villas-Boas at the time as manager. Fulham had Martin Jol. Even the names on here. Fulham had Risa, Mark Schwarzer, Steve Sidwell, former Chelsea player, Andrew Johnson. We had Oriol Romeu, Michael Essien, Louis Cole, Solomon Kalou, Ross Turnbull, Nathaniel Chalobah, and Jamal Blackman are on this. And Hilario is still playing. Jeez, I haven't really looked at these in a while, to be honest. I've just kept them in mint condition and kept them aside. So this is the first thing. It's on the list. This is basically the official yearbook for the 2011-2012 season. That's John Terry right there. It's a little dusty on the back. That cleans it up quite well. And the contents, you have the introduction, season review, player of the year awards, Adidas and Samsung, our sponsors at the time, who I wish were still our sponsors, mind you. The players we had on loan, Chelsea goodbyes, staff profiles, the matches throughout the season, our stats, reserves, academy, Chelsea ladies, Chelsea foundation, community, right to play, and so on and so forth. And then you have these pictures of these players. I think this was at the beginning of the season because this wasn't with the trophies. You have Ashley Cole and Paulo Ferreira here in these 2 pages. Let me just check if... Okay, I think this is obviously visible. Yeah. Losing my vocabulary again. Mata, Josh McEachran next to Mata. Like, these two on separate pages right next to each other. I thought McEachran had a good amount of potential, by the way. Meireles and John Obi Mikel. And then you have Lukaku, a young Lukaku and Solomon Kalou. These are just nostalgia trips to me. Borini is right here. Jack Cork, Matic as a youngster. These are just, and then you have a profile of Andre Villas-Boas and his coaching staff, the physios. A reminder of our 6-0 win against Wigan when we won the title in 2010. This is just wow. And I think there was a match reports for our Champions League games in the 2010-11 season under Ancelotti. These are just so wonderful for me to look at right now. I haven't really looked at them in a while. And then you have these pages with the stats all over them. Top all-time international appearances. You have Lampard, then Desailly. Lampard was on 84 at the time. Desailly was on 74. Terry was on 68. Drogba with 62. You have the oldest players, most appearances in a season. Lampard, Drogba, and Ed de Goey, former Chelsea goalkeeper Ed de Goey. Back in 99-2000. This is just a lot. And this was another matchday program for our game against Aston Villa on the 31st of December in 2011. You have Oriol Romeu on the cover this time. Looking back, I'd say he's had a good career. Who was managing Villa? Alex McLeish. Oh my God. Alex McLeish was managing Villa at the time. Wow. Darren Bent was in attack for Villa. And Stilian Petrov was in midfield. Actually, I remember Stilian Petrov's battle with cancer and how he had to beat it. That was just how he managed to beat. That was one of the most inspirational football stories I've read. So seeing him here is actually very heartwarming, knowing that he did manage to pull through that. Charles and Zogbia. You have all these players. Wow. McLeish likes to attack but remains settled at the back. You have a proper tactical analysis of Alex McLeish's Aston Villa. Right here. Wait, let me see. I'm not necessarily sure if this is visible, but I'm trying. I think it's visible. I'm not sure. Wow. Chelsea versus Portsmouth. A look back on some of our greatest moments, I think this is. Wait. Chelsea scene investigation. Cup heroes and villains. Chelsea Portsmouth. And then you have this game. Is that? Wait. Understanding with Little Italian Torre Andre Flo. That's Didier Deschamps. And that's Paul Merson. Oh my God. Look at this. I didn't even see this. I didn't even see this when I got this. That's Paul Merson playing for Villa, and that's Didier Deschamps making a tackle for Chelsea. Bearing in mind that Didier Deschamps is currently France's manager and that he's won them a World Cup just makes me feel old. Granted, I didn't watch Deschamps play, but it's just time flies. This is hilarious. And this is probably my favorite book of them all. This is called Play Like Chelsea FC. Taking you inside the dressing room and training ground with tips and advice from the stars themselves. The back cover says, imagine sitting in the dressing room before a match or having a kickabout in the park with your mates. Then suddenly Frank Lampard, Didier Drogba, John Terry and Carlo Ancelotti turn up to give you advice on how to play. This exciting official book does exactly that. I kept the cover in mint condition as well. And this is the Trevelyan School, Wood Close, Windsor, Berkshire, SL4 3LL. Preparing today's children for tomorrow's world. I think that's the school's slogan. And he left me this sheet of this small paper with the words, best wishes, Trevor Woods. These are the words. I'm not necessarily sure if that's visible either, but I've kept this as I have everything else. Then you have contents here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get through it. I think I'm going to have to take the cover off. Lord, forgive me, for I know not what I do. Okay. I'm going to keep these aside. This is fun. You have daily planning. It is so good to see Ray Wilkins here. It's so good to just look and see Carlo Ancelotti next to Ray Wilkins. God rest his soul. Brilliant, man. And then it says, initially, in the start of the daily planning section, we'll have a meeting in the morning where the doctor and medical department will provide information to the technical staff about who is available for training and who is not, as well as if any players need their training to be adapted for any reason. Once we have that information, the technical department then liaises with the sports science department about loading. What the specific physical emphasis will be on that particular day. So it's as organized as humanly possible. And then you have typical training session with the squad. Is that Yuri Zhirkov? Wow. Okay. This is the picture of the whole squad. That's, I think, this picture right here. Yeah, that's Yuri Zhirkov, Solomon Kalou, Terry, and Carvalho. And Ivanovic right behind them, but I'm not necessarily sure if he's visible because he's blurred out in the picture either way. And that's a full squad. That picture on the right. Wow, you have these pictures. Drill A, tactical exercises. This is a passing exercise for 8 to 12 players with 4 bases, 2 cones, and 2 mannequins. Drill notes: 8 to 12 players. Develop passing control movement. Pass and follow to the next position. Work on timing of movement. And you have drill notes. Possession exercises. Drill C, combats. 2v2 on goal. Drill D, attacking exercise, counter attack. And you have drill notes here. The coach serves the ball to the attackers and they commence a fast break attack. Use overlaps, diagonal runs, and switches of play to create goal-scoring opportunities, encourage movement and speed of play. Then you have drill F, game with rules, 8v8 to 10v10. These are all mapped out here with the drawings of the pitch, with drawings of what the pitch would look like and how the players would move. You have arrows on this. I hope this is as visible to you guys as it is to me. I'm trying to make sure the lighting doesn't ruin this. And then you have a section that tells you to keep fit, as the players do. Pictures of the physios, stretching and training. This is just... And you have your deep crosses and crossing the byline. Putting pace on a deep cross into the box can allow the strikers to score with one touch. This is... You just look at these photos and you look at how the pitch is drawn in order to illustrate what the... what the text is trying to say. This is just a lot. Malouda. Florent Malouda. Wait, okay. The lighting is probably gonna make this horrible. Okay, this is good. Sorry for the audio in and out. I'm trying not to move away from the microphone while I shoot this. This is gonna be a long video. Play like Lampard. This was my favorite section of the book. Because I grew up idolizing Frank Lampard. He was one of my role models. He still is. This is just... Every successful team needs an inspirational figure, someone capable of covering the whole pitch, scoring crucial goals and providing key assists. Frank Lampard has been that man at Chelsea for almost a decade. Here's how. Frank says the midfield role. You have to be a team player, and as a midfielder, you have to see the potential passes from deep and also be able to get up there and be around the opposition box. That's what the best ones do. And as an all-around midfielder these days, you don't just have to pass and contribute, but you have to score goals. And you have these pictures of him from the 2009-2010 season and the 10-11 season. Both seasons that Ancelotti was manager. These are just amazing. I'm obviously not going to be able to read everything here. And you have pictures of him playing against Stoke. This is a picture from the game against Stoke. And this is a tutorial on how to chip the ball. This is a shot from him against Stoke. I remember he scored 4 or 5 goals in that game. That was hilarious. Hilariously brilliant. Then you got Lampard and Terry lifting the Premier League here. And Lampard lifting it on his own. Premier League title. The trophy. The most prestigious trophy in English football. Hold midfield like Mikel and Ramirez. Wow. This is a John Obi Mikel next to a certain Christian Eriksen at Ajax. This is hilarious. I'm taking a nostalgia trip, and I don't even know how I feel about this. I'm just grateful. I think that's how I primarily feel. And then you have Terry standing next to Carlo Ancelotti. In this section, which is called... Wait, let me just make sure I don't awkwardly turn into the pages. Defend like Terry. Probably the section I read the most because I was a centre back when I used to play. John says leadership on the pitch. Being a captain as a defender, I think it's easy for us at the back to be able to see things and get people into areas where we see are dangerous. By doing that, we can stop other teams getting through the middle of our team and force them wide. By which time, the likes of Lamps and Essien can get back and we get our shape back. Forcing opponents wider allows time for your midfielders to drop back and help the team regain its shape. This is basically a diagram, photo of the text written. It's hard to believe that Terry is currently getting into management. And you have all these pictures. It's just... I'm trying to do my best to show all these pictures properly without removing holding my tongue, without removing my mouth from the microphone or keeping a certain amount of distance. And you have a brilliant photo here of Ancelotti and Terry. Right, okay. That's good. This is the first time I actually removed the cover off this book. And you have Alex as well. Bring the ball out of defense like Alex because he was a brilliant ball-playing centre-back. And this just goes on. This is my favorite book. Attack from the back like Chelsea FC. Counter-attacks. Just attacking. And you have Ashley Cole. Who better, right? Who better to explain this section? Ivanovic as well. Yuri Zhirkov. You have commentary from every player. You have keep goal like Czech. Eye on the ball, agility. You have all of these things. I think this shot of him here is from the Champions League final of 08. Not necessarily sure. But yeah. You have all these shots of the team. And then you have working with a good support staff. This is... And the last photo is basically Terry's shirt with the golden Premier League Champions patch. I'm trying to go through these one-on-one. This is the official Chelsea annual for the year 2012. I hope I'm not boring anyone with this, but just as like, you have highlights here. Our 6-0 win against Wigan, fond farewell. It was Michael Ballack's final season. It was Joe Cole, Giuliano Belletti, Deco, Ballack, and Carvalho's last season. We said goodbye to all those players at the same time. Peter Osgood had a statue unveiled as he deserved. Not sure if this is obviously going to show. It's right here. These are just brilliant. A young Josh McEachran. You have the squad in photos. Right. There you go. You have, there are more photos. Obviously, this isn't everyone. I'll never forget how Villas-Boas tried to force Lampard out of the starting 11, only for Lampard to come in and play against Bolton and score his last professional hat-trick. That was one of my favorite moments of that season. And I remember how angry I was that he wasn't making the cut and that Villas-Boas the AVB was trying to just force him out. You have the 500 club. In all our history, just 5 players have made 500 and more appearances. Ron Chopper Harris, Peter Benetti, John Hollins, Frank Lampard, and John Terry. Okay, I'm trying to see if this is visible. Spot the real ball. You have all these things that I'm trying to get through this without making this video a little too long for everyone, Where's Stamford? Stamford, the lion, the mascot. I think they're doing a Where's Waldo thing here. I saw this last time I opened the book and chuckled just like I did earlier. Chelsea Awards evening, 100-year-old football. Wow. Treasures of the Chelsea Museum. You have a picture of the trophies here that we had won at the time. And close this up. These were official Chelsea magazines, all 3 of these. Cech and Ramirez were on the cover each. Have you got one to express? Sorry, this is an ad. You have moments that changed the game in the history of Chelsea. Gok's the one. I think that's Gökhan Inler. Yes, it is Gökhan Inler. Top 10 games against Italian clubs for Chelsea. You have the 1-0 game against Roma in 08, 1-0 game against Juventus in 09, 2-1 game against Lazio in 03. It was a group stage game. 2-2 game against Juve in this was in 08, 09. This was in 09. Yeah, this was a legendary game, in my opinion. And then you have moments that change the game. Chelsea 4-1 Roma. Fairs Cup first round, 1965. Lazio-Chelsea game. The Chelsea 3-1 Vicenza game. European Cup Winners' Cup semi-final, second leg, 1998. Look at these. These are just... This is such a good section to read. Tactics. Haha. This is nice. Our 7-2 win against Sunderland. More booklets should be made in this vein to just explain tactics. It's so aesthetically pleasing and it makes you feel like reading. Dutch of class for Chelsea. That's that's a horrible pun. Beckford has been the headline thanks to his FA Cup goal scoring antics. Wow, Leeds United's FA Cup king Beckford comes from good stock. This is ironic. At that same season, Beckford scored Leeds' only goal to knock out Manchester United from the FA Cup when Leeds were still in League One. I'll never ever forget that FA Cup game. That was insane. It's weird that I'm being reminded of it here. This is another magazine. Same thing. Drogba joins Blues elite with landmark strike. That was when he scored his 150th goal for the club on New Year's Eve in the Premier League. That season was just hilarious. The season we won the Champions League, that was just nuts. To have Jimmy Greaves in goal because he always wanted to play there, and Peter Benetti at centre forward. What is this? Frank's Bluestone's best five-a-side team of all time. This is a very old interview. Wow. What? Frank Bluntstone. I've never read this section. Frank Gold. Well, the Star had to mix national service with winning the 1955 First Division. Wow, this is from our first ever league win. It's Frank Bluntstone. An impulsive decision was the catalyst to a remarkable Chelsea career, which took in the club's first ever championship. But as Richard Godden found out, army duties meant his services were high in demand. This is an interview done with Frank Bluntstone. This is... Do you know I played nearly 100 games in 1 year? I had to play for Chelsea, the Depot team, the regional team, the army team, England, all in one season. Wow. This is a team photo from 1957-58. This is... I've never looked at this. Or maybe I've glanced at it but never read it. This is gold. And you have, I think that's the exact same team, but with our titles. This is surreal. Half-season membership. Proving a right menace. More of the same. Tactical analyses, fantastic finish to 2011. Stats from that year. Sturridge's wide range of talents. His stats. Drogba on the cover of this magazine with the Premier League trophy. Wow. Membership application form 2010-2011. I never took this out. Kept it in. And then you have this. The double. Celebrate history being made with the new Chelsea double winners range. I think this was an advertisement for the shop. More Samsung stuff. Carlo and Maluda. This is a brilliant photograph. If I could hang this in my room, I probably would. Just look at this. I'm not going to waste more time looking through a magazine. Hope I haven't. I think I've bored people just doing that. This is just so exhilarating to look at. All of this. Wow. Okay, this is important though. Drogba and Maluda, when Drogba celebrated with the corner flag as though it were a guitar. That Drogba chant after that never went out of style. Terry lifting the Premier League trophy. I'm going to close it there. And this is a sheet of every single one of the 11-12 squad members from our famous double winning season. Their photos and their signatures underneath. I have more than one. I just keep them all in a batch. I'm going to try and, keep things organized. Put this back where it's supposed to be. Make sure that everything stays in the condition that it was in before I decided to do this video. So, yeah, this was it. This was everything I wanted to show everyone. And I can't tell you how humbling it was at the time to receive these. That was the first time that I felt that I had actually received something from the club. And mind you, I've only ever bought a Chelsea shirt right before we've reached the Champions League final. The start of each of those seasons. 2008, 2012, and now 2021. To say that I'm completely convinced that we're playing a Champions League final tomorrow and that I believe we're playing, that I've processed this. Well, I think I'm just starting to. right now. I'm just starting to process that we are playing in a Champions League final. And on that note, I have faith in this team. I have faith in my club. I love this club. I've supported this club ever since I was a boy. Watching Chelsea's games has gotten me through a lot. It gave me something to believe in. It gave me something to be passionate about in some of the darkest moments of my life. It was, at a time, the one thing I genuinely looked forward to. Every weekend, you just see those commercials play for big games like Chelsea and United, Chelsea, Liverpool, or whoever it is you support. I've watched football all across Europe. As a kid, I watched everything. I watched Ligue 1, I watched Lyon, I watched Rangers, I watched the Old Firm derby a ton of times. It's one of my favorite derbies in world football. I've watched Spanish football a ton. I've watched Serie A, especially Serie A, because there was a point in time from the mid to late 2000s where it was just nuts. And, I love football. I love football. This may be me just showing off as a Chelsea fan, but I'm not necessarily showing it off. I want to share this with people who, like myself, have such a deep passion for the game. And, maybe you get to go to the stadium every week. Maybe you don't. Obviously not now. Before COVID. Maybe you actually got that opportunity. Maybe now you're just thinking, I'm extremely grateful, that I got the chance to connect with other people who fell in love with the same club that I did, who felt like they belonged in that environment, who felt alive in such a positive way. And I remember how when I was younger and I watched players just come and go, at first it bothered me. I was always so proud of that spine we had, that spine of players: Cole, Lampard, Terry, Drogba, Cech. Excuse me if I've missed one or two. But I realized as I grew older and as, transitions took place, managerial transitions, just everything that changed. Teams that completely left and teams that basically came into the club, obviously, gradually. This is such a different team from the one that won us the Champions League in 2012. You have different names, different reputations, different capabilities. And I learned that it was always about the badge. It was always about the idea that was Chelsea FC. It was always about Stamford Bridge. Always about the blue on the shirt. Just the color in and of itself and what it meant. The lion on the badge. And it's just, you look at rival fan bases, be it City's or anyone else's. I wouldn't necessarily consider City Chelsea's rivals. In a modern sense, I would. But you look at the likes of Tottenham and Arsenal, United and Liverpool. And as a Chelsea fan myself, banter is fruitful in this field. You get to not slander, but joke around with people who support these teams. But when it gets down to it, and you see them wearing their favorite club's shirt, or doing a podcast episode like I am now, or going to the pub with their friends, or just going anywhere to watch their favorite teams play, there's that mutual respect. There is that mutual respect between us as fans. Because we know we are the game. Our rivalries aside, we all want what's best for the sport. And even if your rival wins, but you have a friend who supports them and he's genuinely happy, you're going to congratulate them. If you're a sensible, sane human being, you're going to be happy for them. That euphoric moment that happens. You can't not support good football. Whoever's playing it. You can't not credit it, highlight it, talk about it, share it, study it, understand it. And this is what this video is about. Me sharing my passion for football and for my club. And on that note, I'd like to thank everyone for watching. I'm probably going to shoot the preview like later. It's currently 2 a.m. Yeah. This video is probably going to go up in the morning. So tomorrow's going to have a double upload. Tomorrow's going to be a double upload day. Thank you all for watching. If you've watched this whole video, thank you from the bottom of my heart for watching me tell a story that I have never told. For watching me immortalize a story and just make a video out of it so that if one day I lose these things, I have this video. If at a point in time I lose these things for whatever reason or anything happens to them, they're right here. You know, they're right here on camera now. And I can say that I lived this moment, that I was grateful for it, and that I got to share it. So thank you all so much. And with that, I hope you all have a good evening, a good night, good morning, wherever you're watching from. Our social media links to all of our profiles are in the description below if you don't follow us. We put out football content regularly, daily. I shoot YouTube videos daily. The only reason I didn't shoot yesterday was because I went on a live stream. I had a live stream with the Tricky Red Devils YouTube channel talking about the Europa League final. They are Manchester United fans, and we had a brilliant hour long stream. I'll link that in the description below as well. Please go ahead and follow his channel. And I will see you tomorrow ahead of the biggest game my club is going to play in almost a decade. Obviously, all I have to say is may the best team win. May the team that wants it more win. Cheers, everyone. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time the whistle blows.